official in Colombia, causing him to have to be removed from the plane that was extraditing him and resulting in Gwinnett County having to pay for a private plane to bring him to the U.S. During that flight, Miko would brag about his channel and his freedom while having warrants for his arrest, causing his bond to be denied. His defense would argue that Miko had been in jail for over 6 months without incident. Miko had been attacked by an inmate but did nothing to defend himself other than stopping the inmate from further harming him. His defense would say Miko fled the country in fear of punishment for the crime he was accused of, but he had no intention of fleeing again. His lawyer would also detail Miko's background. He'd worked for the past 5 years in retail loss prevention, a job based on identifying suspicious customers and preventing theft. Miko also had previous experience in law enforcement, but the lawyer obviously didn't want to bring up Miko's past arrest, in which he was charged with impersonating an officer. Back in 2013, Miko was a part of a group causing a disturbance within a restaurant. When police responded, Miko identified himself as a police officer, but refused to provide identification. He further informed the officer he was post-certified, which stands for Peace Officer Standards and Training. POST is a training program meant to raise the training level of law enforcement officers. Miko had also received tactical squad basic training, basic correctional officer training, pepper spray training, mental health training, and a community service response team certification. It was during this 2013 case Miko wrote a letter to the judge detailing his education, employment history, and community outreach skills. He'd recently graduated with his undergraduate degree in criminal justice technology, stating his growing passion for criminal justice. He spoke on working closely with many police officers due to his role as a retail loss prevention detective, and he'd even participated in the Atlanta Police Department's marathon, raising awareness and funding for Crime Stoppers. But back to his other case. Miko's lawyer would tell the judge of his degree in criminal justice and how Miko was very close to being hired as a federal law enforcement agent with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency when this incident occurred. His lawyer also brought up how the victim initially said he was raped, and 29 minutes into the interview stated he required Miko and his co-defendant to wear condoms. Miko's lawyer would tell the judge Miko has no prior history of sexual misconduct, other than a 2012 case out of Fulton County, in which Miko was charged with sexual battery. The case was disposed without conviction, and details regarding the case were unavailable. The state brought up that 2 other agencies from another country were investigating Miko, having been involved with another child. The details couldn't be provided. The judge decided Miko was still a flight risk and denied his bond. Miko would remain in jail for a total of 14 months before taking a plea deal in May of 2021. Specifically, he'd taken an Alford plea, in which the defendant, aka Miko, maintains innocence and does not admit to the criminal act he's accused of, but admits that the prosecution has sufficient evidence to persuade a judge or jury to find him guilty, so he agrees to be treated as guilty. The negotiated sentence would be 5 years probation with early termination in 3 years, and he'd be guilty of only aggravated assault, with the state agreeing to drop the charge of sodomy. He'd be given 14 months credit for his time served in jail, and if he filed to terminate his probation with 75 to 80% of the sentence completed, the state would not oppose, meaning he could be off probation in less than 3 years. It was explained to Miko that if he was to take the charges to trial and lose, he'd face a possible 25 to life in prison for sodomy and a possible 20 years for aggravated assault. Miko, the state, and the judge would accept the plea, and Miko was found guilty of aggravated assault. Within the following months, Miko would return to YouTube, and over the next few months would begin blogging his journeys through some of Atlanta's most dangerous neighborhoods before transforming his channel into a hood vlog channel in which he travels city to city, state to state, giving an inside look into some of America's most dangerous neighborhoods, as those featured in the